Hey everyone, welcome. You can start the broadcast if you haven't done so already.
I have.
Okay, so today let me start with a quick message to the Ustream users because this will be the last broadcast on Ustream. The message is that we are now available on Google Hangouts and you can get all the details on the website anantasatsang.org. So today we shall update the website with all the details of the Hangout. So you will be pointed to a page over there which will give you all the details every day of the satsang. We find it easier to broadcast on the Hangouts and gives us the potential to have this interactivity which is not available on Ustream. So we will be reaching out from Ustream. So although Cornelia did say today that it's going to be easier to connect with Ustream, we'll try and help Cornelia as well so that she can connect easily on the Hangouts either inside the Hangout or on the Google event page. So thank you, Ustream. You've been very good to us. Sorting things out now. If you're watching this message on Ustream, this will be the last satsang on Ustream. So if you're watching this, know that you can get the new details on the anantasatsang.org website. All right. Namaste everyone. Once again, very warm welcome to satsang today. Muji ji ki jai. The simplest thing, the simplest nothing actually, but we can say the simplest thing seems like the most difficult for the mind. If you just look at what is the most difficult for the mind, it is not effort. The mind is used to effort. The mind likes to have goals and targets. But the mind cannot understand no effort. The mind can not understand no time. And that's why the struggle happens. The seeming struggle happens because the mind is trying to figure out what to do, where to go, and how to get there. When I say that you are already home, you are already that, then your question is prove it to me, isn't it? So basically, this is all about proving it to you. And it is very simple to prove. The presence of the master itself is proof enough, you see. If you find a being who is free from suffering, and he says or she says that you are already that, then you must believe this being. Don't listen to anyone who has not rid themselves of suffering yet. Because if they have not rid themselves from suffering, then it is like the blind teaching the blind. But when you find one who is free from suffering, then you must latch on very quickly. It all happens on its own, but just to make it sound interesting, we're saying you must latch on very quickly. And you must ask, what is it that you suggest? What is it that you would like to tell me? How do I rid myself of this suffering? And this question can take many forms, you see. Some can say, how do I find myself? Some can say, can you show me God? And some can plainly ask, I am tired of suffering. What should I do to be rid of it? And most likely the answer will be, find out who you really are. The most direct answer will be, find out who you are. So all that we are speaking of is connected to this self-inquiry, who am I? You see, if you notice in our satsangs, I don't stress so much on the question, who am I? But all that I'm pointing is towards that. So what has happened is that the mind has sort of become jaded with this question. We've become too used to hearing this, oh, he's going to ask me who I am. Even when initially when people used to ask me questions, they would always say, but I know you're going to say who's asking. So this kind of skepticism was already present. So we did not point so directly all the time saying, who are you? Who is asking the question? But all that we are pointing to is ultimately bringing you to the understanding of what you are. Even in the simplest pointing, when I say, don't believe your next thought, you will see that as you keep letting go of your thoughts, you will come to the deepest realization of what you are. That is all that we are doing. Because once you see that I am this pure awareness alone, then you can find that it is impossible for me to suffer. All suffering is just imagination. Don't wait for your mind to confirm. Don't even wait for your feelings to confirm. You see, I'm seeing all these subtle tricks of the ego. So many times it becomes completely clear, but we still go back to our thinking ways and we are waiting for the mind to come up with an objection or to come up with a doubt. And many times you will say, but I don't feel free, you see. I don't feel free. You say that you are ever free. You say that I am ever free, but I don't feel that. I don't feel that. That means what? We are relying on some feeling to be the confirmation of our freedom. It is not like that. It is not like that. Because if you're reliant on anything which is changing, then your freedom, if you link your freedom to that, then your freedom will also seem to come and go. When you feel good, you will say, I am free. When you're feeling, when your feeling is something of anger or regret or guilt, then you say, I lost it. All this back and forth will happen. Nothing. One of my masters used to say, feelings are nothing, just they're like footballs. You kick them where you want. I don't go that far actually. But the fact is, it is appearing for you. It is not you. A feeling is not you. Who can see, who perceives feelings also. Who knows the difference between a good feeling and a bad feeling? Who knows that I am happy now? Who knows that there is joy here? Who is this one? This one the mind cannot find. The mind can only give you concepts. The mind actually knows nothing at all. Be completely clear about this. The mind knows nothing at all. It is only a bundle of concepts. I'm reading all the messages. Namaste, namaste. Very good. What is it that can make you suffer now? It is never the event which is making you suffer. We keep thinking that it is the event which is making me suffer. If only I was a better parent. If only I had a great relationship. If only I had all the money in the bank. All these events we feel are making us suffer. It is not true. It is only the thought about the event, the thoughts about the appearances which can make you suffer. We are relentless, you see. We are relentlessly targeting the misbelief in thoughts. Because that is the only force or energy which is keeping you deluded. There is no such thing as a true thought. Truth does not need to rely on thoughts. Then, when we wait for confirmation from the mind, how can the mind provide it? The mind will only play games with you. Will only play games. Even when the mind is saying that you are free, it is just waiting to say that you lost it. Because it knows that you will not accept any other answer right now. So it will feed you this answer that you are free. And then you start believing that the mind has changed, it has started telling me the truth. It is back to being my friend. And the minute you make it your friend, the next day when you wake up, you say, oh, I had it yesterday and today it is gone. We have Lizelle and we have Jayani here. Both are from South Africa. You see, so South Africa, in the cremation or the ceremony they had for Nelson Mandela, they had this interpreter. You know this, isn't it, Lizelle and Jayani? So they had this interpreter who was fake, or I don't know, he had some medical problem or he was fake. You see? So President Obama was giving his speech in his memorial to Nelson Mandela, and this interpreter was making the same sign. I don't know what some crazy signals he was making.
He was doing the
Yes.
deaf interpretation signals, and he was making mistakes because he was a fake.
Yes. See? So this interpreter that we have in our minds is the same way. The reality is flowing, and this guy is interpreting something which is completely fake. So what must we do? We must fire this interpreter. We must realize we made a mistake in listening to this interpreter, and we must fire him. It's the same guy, the fake guy. How many clues do we want God to give us? This was the most direct one of the most direct ones. It's a very funny thing, and we can maybe share the video also in our groups. And President Obama is making his speech, and this interpreter is just on his own trip. He's just something, interpreting it completely differently. It's the same way. So reality or this phenomenal reality is appearing, and the interpreter we are listening to see what is going on. Why don't we just see directly instead of listening to the interpreter? We don't need this interpretation. You see, we did this once in satsang also. We said, look at an object. You see, when you look at an object, even a beautiful object like a flower. Actually, this one came to me when during one of the intensives with Mujiji. And I stepped out. This was at the Nanagaru ashram. So in the break, when we stepped out, there was this beautiful flower, and it looked like I was seeing a flower for the first time. You see, because the interpreter was absent. Anything that we look at, we're quick to believe our thoughts about it. We don't just see it. We are relying on the interpretation of it. So all this appearance is arising for our own joy. But then, when we believe the voice of this fake sign artist, this is a con artist, you see, then we are in trouble. How long will you listen to this con man? And what will he say? He actually said this, you see, that I had a medical emergency during that time, and I'm suffering from some disease, but now I'm cured. You see, now I'm fine. I'm sorry I did this. It's not true. He doesn't know sign language. He doesn't know it. The mind does not know anything. He does not know. No matter what the excuse is, what the story is, how much sympathy it wants from you, how much it tries to scare you. It also then when it realizes that its job is done, then it will come and try to scare you. See, oh, what do I do now? I don't know. I'm lost. I feel like I have nothing to stand on. All the voice of this same fake con artist. It tries to pull all the tricks. So, like my master says, you fire it, but it still keeps reporting for work. And if you let it in, it says, okay, I'll work for free. Free. What harm can I do? Just let me sit around. I will help you with cleaning the vessels or something like that. I'll help you plan your appointments. Some story. Don't buy anything. And don't expect that instantly if you fire it, it will go away. Like Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi said that you turn the electricity off from the fan, but still it rotates for a while. It does not stop in the same instant, you see. Such beautiful examples. Even the most glorious stories about yourself you must not buy. It'll tell you stories like now you are made up of love. See, completely love. You're made up of love. Love is the most beautiful, most beautiful. It's not true. Love is just an energy which is in service to you. You are not made up of love. You are not reliant on any energy. Any force means nothing to you. Even love. There are many great sages also say that this being must have been created so that we could experience the presence of love. This is true. So you experienced it. But doesn't mean that now we become dependent on this experience. Even love, even peace, even joy. Hmm? You are independent of all of this. Are you okay with that? The question is, are you okay with that? Or do you feel that some substance you do need? Substance could sound great, it could even sound like love. Are you dependent on any of this? I'm telling you that you are not. The other day in satsang, these words came up, and there was some surprise even here to hear this. These words were that even if not an instant comes now here, which is of love, even that is okay. If I was not to experience another instant of love in my life, it's completely fine. I am independent of any of this. It never touches me anyway. And the mind will paint pictures of for you which are of this empty life, vegetative experience. You see? When you hear these kind of things, some mind will say, but this is so empty, you see? Huh? What is life without love? Hmm? So we are not saying that love will go away. You will see that when you stop chasing all of this, then there's too much. But you cannot do it with the intent of having too much. You see, that's the trick. Realize your strength, realize what you are. And in this realization, as pure awareness, it is not possible that love doesn't have its head bowed down to you. Love will cry for your attention. These are not big words or fancy imagination. You see. This is living experience.
So much is about that.
Yes.
No sense, no feelings, no thoughts. It's all that.
Yes. That which you are. It is all about that.
Possible.
Huh? It is perceivable, but not as a phenomenon. So when we say that, are you aware now? It is awareness being aware of awareness. But it is not seen as a phenomenon. See? Yeah. So, just very simply, if I were to say, are you aware now?
Something is perceived.
Itself.
Expensive.
No. So don't even, this is very good you say this, you see. This is very good you say this. Because many times what happens is that the mind is serving up some pictures for you. Sometimes when we say that, can you perceive yourself as awareness? The mind will paint this vast ocean, either black or white or something like that. You see, it is not that. That is just another visual again, another imagination. You see? So we not even to rely on this imagined awareness. It is not perceivable as any phenomenon, not as even space as we see space. Yes, yes. Because what happens is that many times it will happen like this when we say you are the awareness. And the mind starts painting this painting for you, vast space, either black or white or some shining, something. It can be different for different. But that is also seen. Who is seeing also that? Is the one that is seeing that? Is it in that? You can check also. Who sees the expansion? Who sees space? So when we say that I'm finding myself as awareness, the mind will come in and say, yes, yes, I will get it for you. And it paints all this beautiful imagery. And then you say, okay, I see awareness. It is not what is seen, it is the seeing itself. What is seeing even this visual? I'm very happy you brought up this point because many days we have not discussed this. But this becomes very important because many times there are reports that I see the awareness, you see, and I see as what? Then they will say, I see this big black space of nothingness. You see. So even that is seen. There's this, Lizal can help with this. There's this posting here which says, Father, Mata in the room with you. Oh, Mata. Okay. Mata is here. So her questions are not audible. Okay. So we'll speak up. Although I've never heard her speak loudly so far. Yeah. So what she said is that when I see awareness, I see this expansion. You see, expansion. It is not even that. It is nothing that can be visually perceived. See, to answer the question, am I aware now? Do you need to see any expansion or something? Do you need to see any phenomena? No, it is just simply seen. Yes, awareness is here, but it is not seen as a phenomena. I wonder if all of you are getting what I'm saying. For many of us, sometimes the mind is painting pictures of what awareness is. Okay, you're so much after this awareness, let me show you what awareness is. If someone is not getting this, I'd be happy to have this conversation as well. This is a very important point where the mind is serving up a painting of what awareness looks like. And we're believing the painting and saying, yes, yes, I am that. No, you're still the seeing of that, you see. You're still the witnessing of this. Thank you, Atma, my dear. Very good. Very good. Sukhbir is here. Sukhbir says, Ananta ji, sorry for this silly seeming question. No. All questions are welcome. But maybe the mind wants to know how a life ignoring the interpreter would look like on a day-to-day basis. This is very good question. You see, because this happens when we say fire the interpreter, then he says what's going to happen to my work. So this is a variant of that. What happens to my responsibilities? What happens to my work? Will I just be in bed all day? But the fact of the matter is that irrespective of what the interpreter is saying, life has been flowing on its own. But don't take my word for it. Don't even have to take my word for it. You see, when you decide that I will not follow this interpreter, it doesn't mean that it becomes a non-doing or a passive state. It doesn't become a passive state. The non-doing also is a doing. You see, when you say, okay, I will not do anything, then you're doing the not doing. Sorry if the words seem a little confusing, but what I'm saying is that if it becomes like something where you're forcing yourself not to do anything, then you're doing nothing. You're doing the non-doing. So it is not about doing or not doing. It is about staying neutral to whatever is appearing. And you will find that your hands are moving on their own, your mouth is speaking words on its own, your feet are moving on their own, all things are flowing but not necessarily according to what your mind's idea is. There was this quote yesterday where we said that don't expect God to run your life based on your mind's plan. You should see. So, what you do is you try it. You say, if today, entire day, I will not believe any thought. And then tomorrow you can come back and report in satsang. Is it that you became completely inert? Did it become completely passive? And you will find no, that actions continue to move. And then in this will come the beautiful realization that the same way that I am not the thinker of my thoughts, I am also not the doer of my actions. I am neither the thinker of my thoughts nor the doer of my actions. Just like a thought appears and we say, this is my thought, in the same way, an action appears and we say, this is my action. See, many of you are now able to understand this about thought, but you still believe that actions are mine. But you can also very simply see this, that actions are also flowing on their own. The ego comes in post facto and says, you did this or I did this. Without this burden of carrying this heavy person on your back, heavy person idea on your back, life becomes very simple. Moment to moment, fresh, fresh. And everything continues to appear. Don't expect the appearance to change. It might or it might not. But you are untouched by this. See? So the Zen masters would say in the past that before enlightenment, before freedom chopping wood, and after freedom chopping wood. But there is a subtle difference which is not captured in this. Before enlightenment, it feels like I am chopping wood, that there is a person chopping wood. After enlightenment, only chopping wood. The I am chopping wood is not there. This I which is pretending to chop wood is not there. So the actions, what they were trying to say is the actions will continue or they might continue, but the sense that I am chopping wood or I am carrying water will not seem like that. You find that there is no person, there never was, and this is free.
I feel more attached to the experience more than
Yes. So Mata says, I feel more attached to the experiencer rather than the doer. And the experiencer is who?
the
Ultimately, it is the beingness which is both the one doer and the one experiencer. And you are actually just witnessing even this experiencing. So, what is experienced through your senses is also witnessed through awareness. You see, you eat a grape, the senses are taking the taste of that grape. But even this tasting is witnessed as awareness. So, consciousness or beingness is the doer and experiencer, and you are the pure witness even of all of this. Without the presence of being, can there be any experience? There cannot be. First, I am must be there, and then all this sensory or internal experiences can happen. Good. Nick says, please expand on this awareness. Yes. It's very simple. It is your true nature. It is that which is ever present. It is that which is aware even of sleep or of dream or of waking. It is the pure witness of all appearances. It is that which sees that I cannot stop being. So when I ask you, can you stop being now? Who sees that being cannot stop? It is this awareness. When I ask you, are you aware now? Who sees that awareness is here? It is awareness itself. Only awareness can be self-aware. Everything else is appearance. Who sees the presence of being? Who sees the presence of love? Who sees the presence of peace? This awareness. But if you try to understand it with the mind, it can get a little confusing. That's why we made it a simple question. Are you aware now? And the answer will be yes, unless you're buying some story from the mind. The answer will be yes. And we can then say, what is seen to confirm this? Or who sees awareness to confirm this? If with some openness you can ask this question, then suffering will seem so far from you that it will seem like an alien concept. Are you aware now? Thank you. Sukhbir says, thank you so much, Anantaji, for the clarity. I will follow your advice and follow up with you on the next satsang. Very good. Thank you so much. So much love. Shakti says, Father, such a beautiful contemplation has been here since our conversation. Awareness is before now as timelessness itself. Yes, very good. This is where mind cannot enter. Yes. Illusion, dreaming are not even possible. This is very good. See, when we speak like this, then even the desire for freedom seems alien. See? Who wants even freedom? It's very good. Would any of you like to say something or share something?
Father, can I say something?
Everyone has gone into a meditative state.
Father, can I say something? Can you hear me?
Deep Turiya state is happening. Yes, Nick is here.
Hello, beloved.
Hello, my dear.
Yes, I'm not in such a meditative state as you say. I have a burning question.
Yes.
It's one I tried to watch disappear, but it keeps coming back, so I have to ask it. Up to now, I've made several very impacting decisions in my life on the way to live, where to live, several circumstances that have simplified my life, for example, which you mentioned before, seems to me to be part of being myself, finding myself, and being, intrinsic to that nature. However, it's been very conflicting because I've been very anti-society for many years, a bit of an anarchist, and Osho has always been my rebel spirit figure, for this, But it gets me in a lot of trouble because I don't have a 9-to-5 job. I don't want a 9-to-5 job. And just to put it in very simple terms, although life has been taking care of me, I live a very, very simple and off-the-grid, lifestyle. And so when I see people out there, so to speak, living, total modern, updated lifestyles, with cars and big houses and taking kids to school and all this kind of stuff, which for me is still trivia in many ways, because I'm really interested in knowing who I am, essentially, so that I don't get caught up in so much drama. This has created a lot of guilt, as I feel that sometimes I'm on this sort of hermit-like path, which on and off I can feel supported by, because so many sages and so many gurus and wise people have also. So in a nutshell, Ananta, I'm living a very sort of Henry David Thoreau kind of existence, secluded, retreated. I'm 53 years old. I've heard this one before. Oh my God, you should have got it together by now. You should be secure. You should be, and I'm just not interested, I'm just interested in who I am and using all the instruments and all the facilities that I can that will furnish this, this single-sightedness, Does that sound strange? Is there something suspicious there in my nature of mind choosing this? Because I get very confused about whether what's coming up next, and I do feel very awkward if it doesn't come from existence. I mean, I've had on and off invitations to do this or that, and just nothing sparks up. And so I just sit to myself, sink in and say, no, just be quiet. And this is one of the most musical things that I've heard from, Ramana Maharishi sort of lineage with Papaji and Moji, yourself, is be quiet. So I'm just being quiet. Is that okay? The whole thing, the whole scenario?
Yes, very good, very good. So, one thing that I want to pick up on with you is when you say that I decided, or I made these choices, this I, who would you say this I is?
Yes. This I was difficult to answer.
See, because this I, the belief in this I, can lead to a lot of trouble, you see. Because it still sounds like It feels like there was a person there, or there is a person there who made some decisions, and hence life became in a certain way. But what we are seeing right now is that this person is just a myth, and life is flowing on its own. Life is just a projection of consciousness itself. So is this line of discussion, for some it can seem very uncomfortable, you see, suddenly. So tell me what you're feeling about this line of discussion, and then we decide how to take this forward.
Yes, I detect a little bit of this is tricky because it's like what I've got myself into circumstantially, you know, living quality, the place I live, geographical, etc., is a bit of a byproduct of a personhood in my past. Let's say, for example. But
It is
having
not.
said,
Can I just
sorry.
say that it is not like that? The fact is that all of this is happening, all of this happened on its own, and there was never a person there. It only seemed like there was a person there. What is this person? The person is just a collection of beliefs or concepts, isn't it? So, how can a collection of beliefs or concepts do anything? How can a collection of beliefs or concepts decide anything even? So decision making, choice is mostly, in fact, entirely a myth.
Yes, exactly. It's interesting because now coming to the only moment that matters, which is just right now, this split second, this is where it all gets really simplified because I've just spoken of past really in a sense, and what really matters is now. And in this nowness, this is what I'm subject to really is just being open to the flow of life and being this perceiving awareness that how would I say it, is more open and apt to
Yes.
receiving
I'll
something
tell you, I'll tell
as
you some
opposed
good
to,
news. I'll tell you some good news. The
yeah.
good news is that you cannot stop awareness. You cannot stop this perceiving. You cannot become a person even if you try. So then that's why we say that it takes no effort. Effort is required to believe in something which is false. The truth requires no effort. See, openness is not effort. Openness is effortlessness. So don't even try to be open, you see, because it is effort. It will get in the way of openness. The trying to be open only gets in the way of openness. The giving up is openness.
Yes, yes.
You see, because otherwise the mind will keep giving you these targets that, okay, today you are 50% open, work at it, and tomorrow you must get to 51% open. You see, it is not like that. In the now, like you said very nicely, in this now you are completely open. In fact, you are always open. It's only that it seems to close, something seems to close when you are mystified by a thought, when you are hypnotized by a thought. Like you said very beautifully, that let go of all that has happened in the past. If I can find no person here now, then there cannot have been a person in the past who decided anything. You see? When we are not buying from this mind, then we are completely present in the now. and we're not deluded by personhood. And the question of choice or decision making will also not seem anything tangible or real to us. See? And then what will happen is that we will stop taking our temperature also. I don't know whether you heard me use this term, but another form of taking our temperature is to compare our lives with the lives of others and wondering whether I took the right decisions or the others are taking the right decisions or not. You will find that this I, this separate I, just does not exist. So the question of personal decision making does not arise. So when we speak about doership, we are saying personal doership. What I am saying is that if a person itself does not exist, then where is the question of personal doership?
Ananta,
Yes.
This just springs up quickly as a sort of I get caught up very much in let's say, for example, I'm on Facebook and I'm seeing all the posts, and of course we've got our groups and our intentions and our interests and so forth, and then suddenly something, I'm just giving a very random example, but it's very strong. Something comes up like Monsanto is being proliferating in Hawaii or something, or blah blah blah, and then I'm just signing a petition against it, and I'm furious, deep down, because there are these terrible people and institutions just destroying life on Earth. And how does what is the correct perspective with my with my life, me, the awareness? Can I be part of the whole Greenpeace thing without being? This is very tricky for me, and it really gets me quite deeply. I mean, I'm often on tangents of saving the world in one way or another. How do you see this?
So there are two things I would like to tell you on this. The first thing is that there is complete freedom to just go with the flow. So if you feel that something feels like you must sign this petition and the actions are happening on their own, it is just happening, then don't feel, oh, I'm not a person, then why am I signing this petition? That is another mind game, you see.
Yes,
So if
yes.
something is going on its own, let it just flow. You see? So this is one part of it. You will find that all of this, as you get some distance from this doership, you will see that all of this is also flowing on its own. It's very simple.
Right.
That when you see that there is no person here, then there is no person who is doing any of this. And yet the self has no trouble playing any of these roles, you see. The self can play a Greenpeace activist, the self can play the Monsanto, the self can play a teacher, the self can play a student. It is the one self which can play all of these roles. This is what the Leela is all about.
Right, right.
So it can continue in this way. The second thing I want to tell you is that I feel that the best service that we can do for the world is to rid the world of its suffering. It is not in the money, it is not in the material circumstances, because we see people with the most amount of money and they seem to be so miserable, you see. So sometimes I say to people that, especially in India, there's this big thing about having jobs and money and things like that. So they come to satsang and I say, you take photos of all the beings who are there in satsang and then see the photos on the internet of the richest people in the world and you compare the two faces. Okay? The face that you want to be. This is not to say that we must have a aversion towards money. This is not to say that. You see? But the fact is that if you want to help the world, then the best way, according to me, to help the world is to rid the world of its suffering. But how can we rid the world of its suffering if we have not rid, quote unquote, ourselves of our suffering?
Yes, absolutely.
So we must bring ourselves to the truth of what we are, and then suffering becomes alien to us, and then your presence itself will bless the world, and every action will go towards freeing the world from its suffering.
Hallelujah.
Very good. Amen.
Hallelujah. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That's so relaxing to have this confirmation, which I was sort of, in the 80%, 90%. I just needed that confirmation from you. That was wonderful.
Very good.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Adnani said, Anantaji, awareness is giving birth to all these appearances and still remains untouched. Is awareness made up of energy, full of unmanifest potentials, or is this a mind question? No, it's a very good question. So we can see it like that the noumenon or pure awareness itself is the father of the phenomenon. You see? So awareness or seeing is the father of being. So where can being come from? It must have come from the seeing itself, because the seeing is all there is. Don't worry, if it's getting a bit technical for all of you, it's fine. But I feel that there is an answer for this question here. So if all there is seeing, then being also must be made up of this seeing, isn't it? So it's like if all there is water, then it can be that something seems like ice. But ice is also water. So it just seems like it is separate, but it is made up of water itself. So this consciousness, this beingness is like a frozen form of awareness, to put it very simply. So it must be made up of awareness itself. And then in the light of this consciousness, then the entire play of this manifest world comes. It's like when we explore theories like the Big Bang. Before the birth of the universe, we say, you see. But how can there be a before? It must have been something there from which all this matter emerged, isn't it? So it is a nothing which is full of everything. So this nothing is what you are. The full nothing, not the skeptical nothing, not the negative nothing. So when we say that you are nothing, we mean that you are no thing. But from you, all this manifest universe is arising. And it is very easy to understand this if we draw a parallel between this and the dream state. So the time and the space and all the matter and the dream state comes from where? All is a projection of you, isn't it? So it can be said like that awareness is the pure potential from which all this phenomenal existence is arising. Yes, it can be said. Jenny says, Father, can I ask a question? Yes, you can.
Is there enough time, Father?
Yes. I don't know what the time is. I know now, but yeah, there is enough time, always.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Namaste, Father. I just wanted to expose that when this is one thought that is sticky here, is the thought around awareness.
The thought around awareness.
Yes. And I really just want to expose it, and maybe you can help me with it, because so much time has been spent around investigating the seer and awareness, and it is one area where there's stuckness often, because it's so clearly seen that all is this is a dream, and I can't even say how that happens. And in that experience, it's just one thing that I can't even delineate something that is awareness or not awareness, or even give a name to that. So confusion comes then when hearing the speaking of you are pure awareness, or I don't know, because it just seems like it's just all nothing. Does that make any sense?
Yes, yes. So let's look at what you said. You say that you cannot find the delineant, okay, that word is not coming out properly. You cannot find a difference between anything. You cannot find the line between anything. This one, who can see that there doesn't seem to be a line between anything, who is that?
Uh, okay. Everything's just gone blank, Father. It's the
So
same
we rightly
one.
said that we cannot find any tangible difference between all that is appearing. But there is something which is the witness to this, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So this
Yes.
pure witnessing you are. And although everything seems to arise from this pure witnessing, it can also be said that all is arising in front of this witnessing. The witnessing does not seem to be an active participant in this phenomenal play, isn't it?
No. But then what happens? It even feels like that is witness, though, Father.
By what?
No, that's just mind.
It is witnessed. In the question, am I aware now? Then the witnessing is also witnessing itself. So awareness is aware of itself, you're right.
Okay.
So awareness, as I say, is the only
Okay.
self-aware. You see?
Okay. Okay. This it's
Today it does not seem like I've answered you, it seems more like I've confused you more.
I suppose it just perhaps too much thought is involved here. It's just because when everything is dropped, it's just I don't know. There just seems to be there is confusion around this awareness thing, and I know it seems so silly because it's so simple, but I really just want to expose it because it's the area that I get that creates a stuckness here, and I know it's not true, and I really just want to place it at your feet.
It's very good. So if the mind is getting completely confounded, it is completely fine. It must give up.
Yeah, I just.
We must not force the mind to give up also. It will try like this, try like this, try like this, and see that it is beyond. What we are speaking is beyond.
Yeah, and that is seen.
Yes, yes.
That is totally seen. It is the most preposterous thing. It is totally preposterous. The mind cannot add anything to what I am.
Okay, so what was the conclusion? Do you remember the
No,
conclusion? See, for a while, the mind will try to put this into some sort of a mental framework, you see. And then when it realizes that it does not fit into any sort of framework, then it gives up. You see.
And a little bit. I just suddenly just put out there a little bit of kind of like kind of bashfulness is arising that I keep coming to bring things up, but I just don't want anything to be left, left That's
It's
just
very
want to
good.
expose that to you.
Very good.
Thank
We
you.
have this. This is all for you. We have this satsang, and it is all for you.
Thank you.
Very good, my dear. Very
Thank you, Father.
Oh, thank you, my dear. Very good. You want to say for those of you who are not inside the hangout at the moment, if anytime you feel like you have a burning question or just you want to be in the hangout, you see, then you can post a message and we will make sure that you manage to get in. So sometimes it just comes, you see, spontaneously it comes like this. I remember when I walked up to the hot seat with Mujiji, there wasn't even a question, it just felt like I have to be there. Just have to go up and sit. Some of you have seen that video where I tell him that you have to help me with the first question. So sometimes if an urge like that comes, you can mention it and then we will get you in the hangout. Thank you so much, my dear. Thank you, Kanchanji. Thank you. Thank you, Ajnani. Thank you all so very much for this beautiful satsang today. Mujiji ki jai. So much love to all of you.
Ananta ji ki jai.
Jay!
Jai.
Yay!
Jay!
Love you all so much. I never heard Adam's voice. Did you hear something from Adam?
Hello, Nantaji.
Hello, my dear.
Hello. So happy to be here, Nanta.
So happy you're here.
Little bit of shyness coming up, Ananta, but it's okay.
Sometimes I'll pick on some of you just to get you over this.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you so much, Ananta. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you so much. Okay, we can stop the broadcast now, Lizal, if you haven't already.